We have a problem in this world with black men and black boys.
But that's the whole tragic point, my friends.
We're here because we have a very serious message that we would like to share with whoever cares to listen. You are not obligated to stand here and listen to us.
Once again,
So if when we speak you don't like what we say,
what I feel,
you should use your God-given intelligence
cry.
and move along.
I could smile.
We are not intimidated by those who think that they can stop what it is that we have to say. Our stance is purely defensive, and every creature has been given the wherewithal of self-defense and self-determination. And we as human beings, as black men in particular, we reserve the right to our self-preservation and our self-defense. And so that's why we adopt this particular stance. We are sending a message to any potential aggressor: don't go there. We do not turn the other cheek. If you slap my cheek, I will kick all four of your cheeks. This is how we roll. We are tired as black people of people treating us as their beating sticks. We make no apology as black men for standing firm for our human rights. This is what we're about. We believe in justice.
The big change that came within the organization was this. A gentleman who was in who had been an ostracized member of the Nation of Islam, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, saw us in 1996. Loved the work. He came to Dallas, he saw us, and started asking questions about who are those brothers in the black with the guns. And next thing I know, he started moving more away from the Nation of Islam towards the new Black Panther Party, which was okay because at that time he was on the outs with the Nation of Islam. He had been sidelined by the Nation of Islam. And then, of course, when he was shot in California, he ended up, and most people don't even know this. Most folks don't know this part of it. I've never publicly talked about it. When he was shot, he came here to Dallas to hide out, to be in Dallas because he feared for his life. So members of the new Black Panther Party here in Dallas did his protection detail. So when he got better, when he got on his feet, he and I had started having conversations that lasted up almost a couple of years about how he really wanted to join the new Black Panther Party. He was looking for an organization that he could be with. So that was his whole take. And I could go into a lot of deeper detail, but those are the things that happened. So in subsequent meetings with different people within our local chapter here in Dallas, we made a decision, a bad decision, but we still made it. And so I tell people, oh yeah, that was one of the worst decisions that I ever made within the new Black Panther Party, is to allow somebody with that type of belief system to join in to the new Black Panther Party, because it caused a lot more chaos than it was worth at the end of the day. The things that you see today with chapters all over the country who are not aligned with each other, who are just out there and just fuck it, I'm the chapter leader. Got 2 people in your chapter, got 3 people in your chapter. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're not a real chapter if it's just you and your wife in the chapter. I mean, you know, and I'm not upset about that. What I'm saying is that you got all these fringed organizations with no rules, no regulations. They just out there. And that came about because folks, when Khalid Muhammad joined the organization, he bought that principled ideology from the Nation of Islam into the new Black Panther Party, which is the reason I said what I said earlier, that religion should never be a part and parcel of why we go out and of why Panthers go out in the community and do what they do. You should not, based on hating white people, go out into the community and do anything, because hate is such a strong negative energy that you will never be able to do anything else but hate them every day, all day, as you begin to try to do things within the Black community. And I'll tell you this, some of the things that turn people off about the new Black or the new Black Panther Party folks today, as I would say, you putting on that uniform calling yourself a new Black Panther Party member, is the fact that the things that I get from people is they don't like white folks, and I got some white friends. I can dig that. They hate white people, and so that's one of the things that turn people off. The brother out in California, in Los Angeles, happened to be married to a white woman at the time. That was between him and his woman. It ain't got nothing to do with me. And this brother was a principal brother, and he and I were working together on different things in the Los Angeles area. I'm not gonna bring up the fact that who you married to, because it's none of my damn business. Is who you sleep with at night. Khalid Muhammad saw a need for whatever reason to ostracize this brother, to put this brother down, because he was married to somebody outside of the Black culture. And I just thought that was wrong. You can't help who you fall in love with. So with that in mind, that put a lot of negativity within the organization. The organization wasn't. We was already pro-Black, and when I say pro-Black, we were pushing an ideology of making corrections within the Black community economically, politically, which is what most of the folks in the organization stepped away from. The political ideology tied to the Black Panther Party. I mean, if you look at the Black Panther Party from the 60s, 70s, most of those folks ended up in politics or running for political office to make the lives of Black people every day better. And so you can't get away from the ideology of politics. Everything is political. Water is political. Climate change is political. It's all political. Racism inside police departments, it's political. And so, shit, you can't even live, you can't even be born or die without that in between politics. You got to have a birth certificate and a death certificate. Those are the only things that make you live and die in this country. Without one or the other, you don't exist. Not in America, you don't. And so Khalid Muhammad's underlying dislike, hatred for white people became the problem in the late 90s inside the new Black Panther Party. and the other aspect of that is that you cannot, I will reiterate that word, you cannot, is cannot two words? Well, you cannot if it ain't.
Can't.
Turn the, can't. You can't turn the new Black Panther Party into the Nation of Islam on steroids. The Nation of Islam is its own organization, and it should be seen as that. You can't have ministers in the new Black Panther Party. That shit makes no sense. It makes no sense because the new Black Panther Party is a non-religious organization. You can't do it. And that's what they principally tried to turn the new Black Panther Party in and they were successful in doing it. Turned it into a hate group. So now the new Black Panther Party is listed as on the National Security Index as a hate group, a hate extremist group. And that is because of what happened is making the mistake of bringing Khalid Muhammad into the organization. My bad, y'all.
Yeah, I told y'all.
Shit, my bad.
I used to tell y'all, you got folks that's got this rhetoric of hating white folks, or at least that's what's put out there, and getting rid of them. and then you turn around and surround them with a bunch of cats with guns, you got a problem.
You got a goddamn problem. You're right. You're right.
Ow! I remember, man, I was pissed at y'all.
Hey, I get it. I get it. But I'm gonna tell you something. The reason that I ended up leaving the organization was some stuff that I heard. And this is the first time nobody's ever heard this. I mean, it's a few folks that know about it, but nobody's ever heard me publicly talk about this ever. And that is that folks in the chapters that we started prior to Khalid Muhammad joining, who were, I would say it like this, people who were loyal to us or to me, started having real issues with Khalid Muhammad. So guess what that was going to end up being?
Yep.
A East Coast West Coast rivalry. Same thing that we saw with the record labels and shit. I'm talking about people, black folks in power, shooting and killing each other over bullshit.
Yep.
So that meant two things. I had two choices: leave the organization that I created, or descend into murder and chaos, principally like some of you see in some of these cities right now.
Yep.
You know, descend into chaos. And so I created some stipulations, told Khalid Muhammad what I expected. And if he didn't do what I asked him to do, that I would disown him publicly in front of the world. And so he was pissed at me, but I ended up getting the things that I wanted. And one of those things was that I wanted to make, I basically gave David Foreman, my national minister of defense. He became the national person for that. Rob would take on another national position, I believe, with the organization. That's actually in a letter that I sent to Khalid Muhammad, and it was actually the last conversation that I had with him, principally before he died. So that was all of the things that I think helped to bring about this thing that we see today of folks saying that they're in the new Black Panther Party. I get emails, text messages, Facebook, folks texting me all the time, and I never answer the question because people are calling me up asking me, well, how did the new Black Panther Party start? I heard it started in 1990. I heard it started in 1991. Well, I don't know and I tell them, I don't know who the hell you've been talking to, but you're talking to the wrong person, because they don't even know the history of the new Black Panther Party. You just got a whole lot of stuff in about 30 minutes about the inception of the new Black Panther Party, why it was created, the problems that evolved into the organization that helped to bring what I see right now is part of those major issues that organization is dealing with. And so I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm actually working with some folks from the East Coast and the West Coast. Now, I will say this. If you guys remember me saying this earlier, my goal was to work myself out of a job inside the party.
Right.
So that goal meant that I was going to create a international board of directors to lead the organization, and not just one person, like what descended it into a chaos. I think you have to have a board in place that helps an organization to evolve and grow, change its rules. You gotta be able to change as times go forward and move on, and you'll end up taking on issues that we wouldn't have did in the 80s or the 90s. You end up taking those issues on, like climate change. Climate change was principally never on the forefront of the new Black Panther Party. Now it is. And because we living in a society where folks are being pushed out of their countries every day. Hey, we just had 20 some odd thousand folks to show up at the border in the state of Texas, And now you think about all of those southern borders, Arizona, New Mexico, California, and Texas, and folks showing up at the borders. If you got 20,000 a week in each one of those states showing up, you got a real deep problem. And I will say this, when black folks start showing up at those borders in mass numbers like that, that's when that's when it's gonna be a problem at the borders. That's when it's gonna be a real problem at those borders. And people can get angry about me saying it, but that's just a fact. So, and I said all that to say that we can never allow race to be the principal factor in why we are out here fighting for the freedoms and liberation of poor and oppressed people, and especially black folks and other people of color. You know, we got to move forward. We gotta not fall into that pattern that those same racist bastards have used against us in our fight for the future. And so that's always been my belief system. The circumstances of one's birth doesn't bother me. Let's fight together. I mean, and if you think about what's been going on with the Black Lives Matter movement, not that I'm a member of it, and with all of the stuff that I know about that organization, I would never join that organization. Yes, Black Lives Matter as a statement, but the organization itself, I would not join. I'm still a principled person. I truly believe that at the end of the day, people keep coming back to the rules and regulations and the power base that the Black Panther Party had in the 60s. And I say that we can never escape the Black Panther Party. And that's what we need to be trying to evolve that organization and get it back up on its feet the way it's supposed to be. You got organizations, and I'll say this, and I make no bones about it. You got NFAC, the what do you call them? The Not Fucking Around Coalition. At what point in time, and I'm saying this because I want those brothers and sisters to think. At what point in time do you say we not fucking around?
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
At what point in time do you say this is it? We not fucking around, and you start killing because you talking about killing white folks. At what point in time do you say we gonna start killing white folks? See, we got to lean away from it because I've seen this before. I've seen that picture show before. There were people in the 90s who said, if this doesn't happen on this date in the 90s, then we're gonna start killing white folks. I saw that picture show. That don't work.
Yeah,
that shit don't work. Trust me. So, and then I saw other organizations that I've been around and over the decades saying, man, we just gonna start sniping and killing motherfuckers. Okay. That shit don't work. And I'm not saying that you don't arm yourself. I truly believe in arming on myself. I truly believe in arming the community. But I also truly believe, and I'm a military-minded individual. You remember I said earlier that if you want warriors, you raise them as warriors. You raise children, you raise your boys, you raise your girl as warriors. That way, when they get older, they carry that with them through life. My son and my oldest son, because we took him to the picket lines, because we took him to protests. My son ended up being a naval special operator with JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command. He actually became a Navy SEAL leader.
Damn.
And so because of that, you know, he always references when he talks to people, he say, man, my old man brought me up in the struggle. He used to take me to the picket line. He said, I watched police, you know, deal with them on the picket line. Now he's not a member of the Black Panther Party, but he became a warrior because he was out there in the community watching us protest and picket and fight for the rights of other people. So he wanted to help other people. He joined the SEAL, and he's been a SEAL team leader for 17 years. So, you know, been all over the world doing this thing, you know, and I always tell folks, you got black folks who tell folks, man, don't join the military owned by the white folks. Shit, you better get all the goddamn training you can from the military. Get all the training you can from law enforcement. Get all the training you can as a registered nurse. Because at the end of the day, brother, trust me, we gonna need that. for our people. We're gonna need all that training. We're gonna need all of that intelligence. We're gonna need it all.
True
No doubt.
indeed.
No
True
doubt.
indeed. Now let me ask a question right quick, because you just brought it up. You touched on these things.
No, wait a
And
minute. Wait a minute. That's a later
what?
on question, because I know what you're thinking to ask. That's a later on question. So hold on to it, because I know number 10, I think is what you're fixing to ask. But right? Yeah. No,
that
oh, my
wasn't
bad.
it. That wasn't it exactly.
Okay.
This is what I wanted to ask, because
Okay.
he spoke about the groups and the organizations carrying weapons and protests, and basically claimed that they're not messing around. In the 90s and early 2000s, the new Black Panther Party would carry weapons and do armed protests, with the
Right.
school board meeting,
Right.
the
Right.
Jasper, Texas thing. I want to
Right.
know your stance and on protests, and why the new Black Panther Party Dallas chapter did those on protests, and
There you
how
go.
you view on protests now by groups and organizations that are using that type of protest at this moment.
Okay, I'll give you a difference between what we did then and what people are doing. Both organizations, let's say to yesterday and today, people are carrying weapons. People are probably doing a lot more training today on those weapons. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a great thing. People need to know how to fire a weapon. People need to know how to fire a 9mm. People need to know how to fire a M4, and people need to know how to fix a weapon in the field. I think you have to have all of that. But that's not all of what military apparatus actually does. That's number one. Number two is the difference would be that when we were always threatened by someone before we even got to the damn protest. Like, I'll take for instance, we showed up at the school board meeting in the 90s, which is one of those things that got us some international recognition. We showed up at a school board meeting. The police department, Dallas Police Department, have been having private meetings with the white school board members and not even telling the black school board members that they was meeting with the police. So what came out of that is the same thing that came out in my court filings. All of this stuff came out of my court proceedings when I was on trial. That they were going to arrest us in this meeting no matter what the fuck we were going to do. No matter what we did, whether we sat, stood up, sat down, it didn't matter. They were going to arrest us and show us that they wasn't bullshitting with us. And if you show up at the meeting, we're gonna arrest you every time. Okay, fine. I don't have a problem with getting arrested. Charge me whatever you're gonna charge me with. Let me go to trial. Here's the other side to it. And this was an unwritten principle of the new Black Panther Party. And most of y'all knew this. If you put your motherfucking hands on us, and you fuck us up, we're gonna try to when we catch your ass the next time, we're gonna fuck you up too. Them's the rules. them the motherfucking rules. So that actually happened. They broke one of the arms of one of my guys that was in the new Black Panther Party when they were arresting us. And so we laid it out after we got out of jail. We told them motherfuckers that we was coming back to the school board meeting and we coming armed. Because at that time, you could show up at the school board meeting and they couldn't stop you from coming in the building with a weapon. They couldn't stop you. Wasn't shit they could do. And so we told them, this is what we said to them. This is a public statement. We coming back to the school board meeting. We bringing our guns. And if any motherfucker in there put their hands on us and pull that bullshit they did the last time, we not gonna be the only people that's gonna die. There's gonna be a whole lot of motherfuckers gonna die. That's what we told them, because they had no business putting their hands on us the first time. So you get warned, but you don't get no more after that. And so we were telling people we were willing to die for what we believed in. You can't put your hands on us and think it's okay to keep doing that shit. In other words, that became an act of self-defense, not an act of aggression. And so that principally became the difference. And so I actually said that to the Dallas police chief. I said it to the white school board members. I said it to the black school board members. I said it to a group of black business people. And because we were all in a meeting after that incident where they arrested us. And I told them when they had a next school board meeting, we will show up with our guns. And if the police department or anybody put their goddamn hands on us, I'm sorry. Shit, it's gonna be a whole lot of more goddamn funerals besides mine in the community. And I meant it. Oh, I was willing to die for my shit. And so what they ended up doing was closing the school board meetings down for 2 months because they knew we were coming with them guns. It's like they gonna come with the guns. So they started moving the school board meetings around to the schools because they knew we were smart enough and intelligent enough to know that the state law says you can't bring a gun within 1,000 feet of a school. So that's why they started having the school board meetings at the schools instead of their regular school board meetings.
Yeah.
That at their administration building. And so it was a smart move. It kept us from bringing the guns into the building. But what people don't really understand is out of that, the Dallas Police Department said that they were not going to be caught up in the middle of a goddamn gun battle between the Panthers, the school board, and the police department. They were never going to come to a school board meeting again unless somebody shot somebody. That was the only way they were going to show up. And that's what happened. The police said, we didn't sign up for this shit. We're not going to be the armed movement for the Dallas Independent School District meeting, which is what people don't know is that's what actually created the Dallas Independent School District's police department. That move right there created their police department. And if you notice, not only Dallas had a police department, but all the other school districts started creating police departments right after that because of that one decision. But that had nothing to do with me personally. I told him, I said, you can do anything you want to, but you can't put your hands on my people and think you're gonna get away with it. It's just not gonna happen. I was willing to die for that thing, and those other brothers were willing to die with me. And I think we have to, I have to give those who are willing to put their own personal life aside and die for principle.
Sure
And I think what you have now is you have a whole lot of folks that's got ego. Who, I mean, it's like this. If you say you're the not fucking around coalition, at what point in time do you just say, we just got to kill some white folks? You say you gotta say it because you can't keep. One thing I do know, and it's the psychology and the dynamics of war, the psychology and dynamics of war, and those dynamics means that if you train people long enough and don't give them a target, they turn and eat on each other. Yeah. It's like a parasite. So at some point in time, you got to give them a target to go after. It's kind of like my son. And my son them do all of this training and with the Naval Special Operations, Spec Wars groups and with the Joint Special Operations Commands with Green Berets and Army Rangers and all these different people. And then guess what they got to do? They have to turn them brothers and sisters loose on somebody's ass. Somebody got to die. And that's just the art of war. You got to turn your folks loose to get all that damn energy out of them. So they got to go after somebody. Shit. Right. They do it outside the United States and they go after other folks. And so that's one of those things. The difference being is that the people that's in these groups that are coming up now, they have no manual of operation. They don't really have any type of intelligence gathering apparatus, which is another thing that I've been working on. And they're not being led by principles. They're being led by somebody's personal vendetta against the system. Well, that personal vendetta is not just that one person's. Just suppose tomorrow that one person woke up and said, fuck it, I don't want to live no more. He gonna take a group of people just because I don't want to live. He's gonna take a group of people and get them killed because he don't want to live. Mm-hmm. So you got to live and die by principles and rules and regulations. Because if you don't, it's kind of like you guys would never have let me say, Brother Aaron, I think that's a bad move, brother. Yeah, we can't go out and do this because that right there is not a good move. You never heard me be emotional about stuff. because I was always trying to make sure that when we went out and did an operation, that we were well within our rights to do it. Number one, well within the principles within the organization to do it, and that it fell in line with what we were trying to do for people, for the Black community as a whole. It wasn't some whim shit we made up. You know, going down there to deal with James Byrd was my idea. It had nothing to do with Khalid Muhammad. He came after. He came after that. You know, he called me up and asked me, was I going? I said, we going this Saturday, and he said, well, I'll be there on Friday. So because he wanted to go with us. He wasn't even in the party at that time, but he wanted to go with us. So most people didn't even know that. That was our idea. We were planning on, because we read it and saw this on TV, and it's like shit. And I'm gonna tell you something else that was what most people didn't know about that whole thing with Jasper, Texas. The Klan had said that they were gonna march through a Black community after these racist white boys, unprincipled pieces of shit, murdered and drugged to death a Black man. They were going to march through the Black community, and I told them, fuck no, you can't do that shit. So I get a call from, believe it or not, at that time, from the governor's office. I mean, this is how popular the new Black Panther Party was at that time. People calling us up. The FBI was calling. They were calling and asking friends about it. Tell me, can we have a meeting with you? I said, hell no. What we need to have a meeting for? Shit. You know, the Klan is talking about marching through a Black community that has just been traumatized by the murder of a Black man. Do you think I'm gonna let this shit happen? And I said, I can't do it. So that was the reason we went down with our guns. I told them, I said, if the Klan show up and they think they're gonna march through this Black community, we gonna kill all them motherfuckers. And I told them just like that, we gonna kill these motherfuckers. And they said, did you just say you gonna? I said, no, I didn't tell you I was gonna kill nobody. I said, we're gonna kill all them motherfuckers that show up to march through the Black community. You can't do that shit. That's like, I tell people this. You can't lose a battle in the streets if you're a soldier. You know why you can't lose a battle? Because you got to come home. So that's why you see that statement in the movie A Killing in Jasper, when the people that pretended to be us in the movie use the term they kissing their babies, and that shit actually happened. We actually told the FBI we kissed our families goodbye this morning, motherfucker. And we coming down there, and if them fuckers,
that shit.
if them motherfuckers think they coming through the Black community, we gonna kill all them motherfuckers. And if you look at what happened, even in that movie, where they show where the Klan decided not to march through the Black community, but they decided to march in the downtown area, we ran down in there on their ass and pulled them hoods off their heads and kicked the shit out of them. So that actually happened. That was a fact. And so, you know, those are things that we know that happen, and it would happen not because it was about ego, but it was about principle. You know, I don't ever do anything about, you know, out of ego. It's always about principle. And to go so far, as I tell people this all the time, I don't give a shit because you're a member of the Klan. It don't bother me one way or the other. You can believe whatever the hell you want to believe. As a matter of fact, back in the early 90s, the Panthers met with the White Socialist Party. We met with the Aryan Brotherhood, who was being led by Tom Metzger at that time. So we did a lot of revolutionary shit. And I'm gonna tell you how we ended up in the meeting with the Klan, the Socialist Party, and the White Aryan Brotherhood. They called me and asked for the meeting. We want to sit down with you, Mr. Michaels. We want to sit down with you and have a meeting with you because we want to talk about how we can work together. You don't think the FBI was up on that shit? Yeah, that scared the shit out of folks when the enemies of your enemies is having meetings.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, you know.
Go ahead, bro.
No. You got it. I mean, you exactly.
I was just gonna say, I mean, that's an extremely powerful thing. Yeah, especially you know, you've got these two supposed to be opposing sides who are now starting to sit down. You know, these two sides who everybody's always saying, yeah, they don't like each other, this group don't like that group's folks, and that sort of stuff. Sitting down and having a conversation, you know, that's completely counter to the whole divide and conquer concept that these folks work with. And it was always funny to me, you know, you talk about the differences between the cast today and what we did back then, is even anytime there's one thing in particular, if you're going to go and protest, one thing that stands out in my mind that you cannot do above and beyond anything else that you do as far as the protest is you cannot go and get a permit to protest. I can't.
There you go, brother. There you go, brother.
Rectify that shit in my head. Yeah. You're gonna ask them if it's okay.
If it's okay.
I can't make that make sense in my head.
I know, brother. I said the same thing, man. You're exactly right. How the fuck are you a revolutionary organization and you the not fucking around coalition? Because you ain't fucking around and you mean what you say, but you gonna go get a goddamn permit to protest your goddamn enemy? I mean, come on, man. That's I mean, that talking about, man, I hate to say it like this, but sometimes you got to say certain things. That's whole shit.
It is. It is. I mean,
it's whole shit. You know, I mean, you know, those are prostitute moves. You know, I've never gone and gotten a permit. I don't give a fuck if it's on the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, dirty South, you name it. We ain't never had a goddamn permit to protest no motherfucking where. Yeah. And I think people need to understand that you got that there are some organizations out here, and I'm not gonna say who those organizations are. I think I think people need to do, before you join any organization, I don't care if it's the party, I don't care who it is, you need to do your research on that organization. See what they're about, if they got the same values, the same principles, the same beliefs. And when I say beliefs, I'm talking about, I ain't talking about religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs. I'm talking about the same beliefs that you have about freedom. And if you can rectify those things, then join that organization.
Yeah.
But if you can't find no principles, if you can't find the rule book, hell, everybody got a rule book. Shit, even the religions got a rule book. Here go the Bible. Here go the Quran. Here go the Hadith. I mean, you know, you name it. People, even in the religions, figured out we got to have a principle book. We got to have a rule book. But if you join an organization and ain't got no goddamn rules, it's a free for all. And you ain't gonna never know when those, and I'm gonna be honest with you, those are fucking cults. And it's all at the whims and the antics of the fucking cult leader. Oh, fuck, I just called a whole bunch of motherfuckers in the cults right now, didn't I?
Yeah. What you done did.
Yeah, fuck. Get out of that goddamn cult you in. Shit. Let's just call that shit like it is. Get out of that goddamn cult. Because that's what it is.
I remember, I don't think today, I don't see, and I'm not the most in touch specifically with organizations, but just judging from the mindset and the mentality of people as a whole today, Black folk, white folk, just people as a whole.
Right.
You know, me and Syke were drafted into the party.
Right.
Drafted into particular positions, ministers, you know, information and whatnot. I see that working on very few people, you know, and I was telling a sister earlier today, she was like, so you were drafted, that means you were made to do it. And it's like, yeah, in a kind of sort of way, right? Because the dude pulled my principal card, right? And Syke's principal card, and basically being told, okay, you talking all this, here's your opportunity to do it. So we were kind of like, well, okay, I guess I got to do it now.
You got to live up to what you believe. That's right.
And I don't think that really exists as a whole, even within the community, but especially in organizations.
Right.
And I wanted to kind of get your ideas on how that lack of respect for rules or even having rules, because I mean, that's what it was, you know, with me and Syke, and War knew it when he did it. Yes, Rob Will, War, you did this to me. He knew what he was doing at the time. He knew not to go and draft some folks who were kind of in it, kind of not. But he saw that at least these two cats, if I draft them, they're gonna say yes. He already knew they're gonna say yes. We might think about it a few days to make him sweat or make it seem like we might say no, but we were gonna do it. But
Right.
I don't really see that, and I'm wondering what you think, how that mindset plays into the preparedness or lack of preparedness within the community for things like all the protests and the riots that's going on, the pandemic, the crumbling financial system, all of those things. How does that, from your perspective, that lack of rules and lack of respect of leadership and principles and all that, how does that play into what it is folks are seeing now and what we're going to see? And let me say this for you answer. You can't say, Aaron, you can't say I told you so, okay? Because we all been saying I told you so for years. So let's just make that right here.
Yeah.
We told y'all so.
Yeah.
There
Right.
you go, bro.
Okay. Well, this is what I believe. And this is not only what I believe. It's something that you can find in every culture from the beginning of time. When you start having a lack of morals, and rules and regulations create, or morals are the things that create rules and regulations. Those things that we are in uniform and outside of uniform. Those are the principles. Those actually created the military codes of conduct and morality. You know what I'm saying? So those things that we are when nobody's watching us. Am I a thief? When I'm by myself, and am I a thief when my friends are not watching? And it's principles. There are things. It's kind of like I got a set of moral rules that I don't ever violate. There's just some things about me that I won't violate certain rules. And so I'll use another principle. There were rules and regulations about drug usage inside the new Black Panther Party. Now, I don't care what people do when they by themselves or with they group of friends outside the party. That's I don't have to see it. But I think what really started to really when I started really seeing the organization going down the hill on that wagon with the broke ass tires and shit falling off that motherfucker, is when I started seeing people talking about getting rid of the rule about drug usage in the organization.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got to be out of your fucking mind. We already dealing with a community that's dealing with mental illness, period. Because we all been, I mean, fuck, we got hundreds of years of fucking slave mentality and oppression on top of that, and belittlement and fuck, rape and murder and lynching. I mean, we've got all this shit that's part of our psychic DNA that's tied into us. And then, of course, you really have people who got all of that stuff, and also people who are having mental episodes every day. And I said this earlier. So now you're talking about taking away the rules where people can just openly do drugs in front of membership. Fuck it. I'm gonna smoke this joint. And I'm not don't get me wrong. I live in Texas and they trying to pass that law. And then to some extent they already have. The agricultural bill in Texas is nothing but a marijuana law on the legal side. That's what it is. And so let's not even talk about that. We talking about there were folks who were doing that were starting to do hardcore drugs inside the party.
Yeah.
And then folks getting pissed off because they were getting called on the carpet for it. Man, you can't be high in the motherfucker on acid or whatever the fuck you on, nigga. I mean, some shit you just gotta say because the shit's it's funny as fuck.
Oh man.
You high the motherfucker, driving in the shit, and you high out on a mission. We on a mission. What? And now all of a sudden, because we calling your ass on the carpet about it, a group of y'all motherfuckers want to get together and get rid of all the rules and regulations about doing drugs. So now it's just gonna be a free fall. Fuck it. We don't care if we in uniform or out of uniform. We gonna be some unprincipled, unbridled motherfuckers.
Yeah.
We just gonna be
Yeah.
hardcore. They think that's hardcore. That ain't fucking hardcore.
No, it
Hardcore
ain't.
is, hey, that's like, that's like letting a pedophile walk around with his manhood hanging out and touching little boys and shit. You can't do that shit. You gotta bridle that shit and put your fucking pull your clothes up and be a man. Be somebody that somebody need to look up to at some point in time in your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's shit that I've done in my life. I don't want my kids doing that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, we all men now. We older men now, and we think back and be like, God damn, it's some shit I did. I don't know.
I can't believe I did that shit.
And got away with it. God damn,
Yeah, got away. Yeah.
and wasn't no cameras around. Shit. I mean, shit. All of us be looking at probably a whole lot of years. If we start talking about getting caught by the cameras today.
Oh hell yeah.
And then showing the hell. Anyway. I digress from that.
I did mine.
Yeah. Sykes said, okay, I did mine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess my point is that the rules and regulations keep our ass in check.
True indeed.
They keep us in check, man, at all points in times. It's kind of like if I'm standing there protecting your family, I don't need you walking past me to my damn man, homeboy, sister, show this. Look, keep that to yourself, bro. We gotta stay focused on this mission.
True indeed.
You go out on a mission and your ass is unfocused. Guess what? Your brother might get shot in the goddamn head because you was unfocused.
True indeed.
Keep your shit in check. We could talk about how good some woman look after the mission is over with.
Yeah.
After we back at home. And after I get to call you on the carpet for even mentioning that shit to me while we out in the field. I mean, come on, man. It's just rules and regulations keep us from descending into chaos. Because that's what the fuck we got going on out here with all these different groups calling themselves the New Black Panther Party.
Man.
Chaos. That's what the fuck is out here. Nobody, no principles, no rules, no regulations. It's just a bunch of motherfuckers putting on uniforms, putting on some boots, putting on some hats, calling, man, we the New Black Panther Party. Well, where you work at, motherfucker? Because that's the first thing I ask people. Well, you say you're in the party, right? Well, what are y'all working on? Fuck, I don't know. Shit. We ain't doing nothing. We just talking bad about white folks because them motherfuckers ain't no good. Okay, well, look, brother, that ain't what the party's about. You just gotta tell people that shit. That ain't what the party's supposed to be about. Yes, we deal with racism. Yes, we gonna deal with bad schools in our community. Yes, we gonna deal with opportunities for blacks to have contracts and more business. Yes, we gonna fight for all of that stuff. Yes, there needs to be more black people in the political process. But we don't need assholes out here who have no fucking morals, fighting for us. We just don't. Shit, I always tell folks, and I tell them this all the time. You got folks who are it's like, I would never vote for, I don't give a shit if he is black. I would never vote for, what's my man's name that was married to that Kardashian girl?
Kanye West.
Kanye fucking West. That motherfucker's a goddamn. I said I would never use this word again. That motherfucker's a retard. I said I would never use that word, but that motherfucker fits that word. He a goddamn, just an asshole. The boy is suffering from mental illness. Everybody know it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's suffering from mental illness, and his friends are letting him jump out here and say this shit. I'm gonna run for president. Shit, I'm gonna run for president. Shit, I got $3 billion. I'm gonna run for president. No, come on, motherfucker. You couldn't win dog catcher the goddamn week if I gave you the job.
Damn.
Look, that's how much you know about politics, motherfucker. So we letting these unprincipled people become leaders inside the Black Panther movement. They have no leadership skills. They never were trained as leaders. They just gonna jump up and get them enough votes to be a goddamn leader. What the fuck that mean? You got some motherfucker who done basically in a meeting about a month ago, gonna call himself, I'm the leader of the new Black Panther Party emeritus. What the fuck that mean? I'm the emeritus. Nigga, you ain't started shit. You
Oh
ain't
my
done
God.
shit. I'm gonna tell you what my mama used to always say. And I leave it like that. You ain't never done shit. You ain't never had shit. Cause you ain't gonna never do shit. Cause guess what? You ain't shit.
Damn.
That's it. You know, that's what these motherfuckers do. They just gonna name themselves and scared to tell the truth about the history of the new Black Panther Party. When you tell it history, then folks start going to go find the roots. Any child, and most children who don't know who their fathers or mothers are, at some point in time in their life, they start longing for who they are. You know, it's like, man, who am I? Who am I? I don't have any roots. Let me go see if I can find my mother or my father. Even though they probably grew up in a great home with a foster mother and a foster father who loved them. It's something in them that makes them want to go find that mother and that father. And on that journey to find who they find a lot about who they are on that journey. Oh, you know, my daddy used to walk like that or look like that. They on the journey. And I got folks who find me and they send me emails. They get my phone number from somebody I know and they call me up. Brother Aaron, you don't know me. I'm from DC. And I just had to call and ask you, was the new Black Panther Party really like this, brother? And I have to sit them down and have this. I have these hour and 2 hour and 3 hour conversations with people. And they be like, God damn, we fucked up. We ain't even supposed to be doing none of this shit. I'm like, no, you're not. But look at who you following. I said, look at who you following. An unprincipled motherfucker. So if they unprincipled people, that's what you gonna get. And so that's why I say rules are the most important thing you can have within an organization. And the long story around what he just said, I've been having conversations with folks. So you guys are like the first two. Well, Rob probably knew about it, but you guys outside of Rob are the only two people that know what you're gonna be broadcasting this to the world. Hell, I guess everybody gonna know.
Yeah, everybody gonna know.
There is a reorganization of the new Black Panther Party happening as we speak. And like I said, I'm not sure if you stepped out of the view of the public site, but I'm putting together a national board of individuals from all over the country who will lead this effort. Because what did I say earlier when we first started this? Aaron Michaels was trying to work himself out of a job. You know, I'll be working with this group of people from around the country, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, dirty South, you know, from all over the country on this national board that will eventually become the heads of the new Black Panther Party moving forward in this country and around the world. And I will say this: if people don't like that shit, then they can go fuck themselves, you know, because the reality is this: one person, as far as I'm concerned, even had the organization evolved the way I wanted it to, I would have still wanted a board to run the organization because many voices of reason is better than one person running a cult organization by themselves. You know what I'm saying? The evolution of the organization is most important to me as in 2021. How do we evolve this organization? We should be the Black Panther Party should be operating internationally with Black countries and other groups of people all over the world as we speak. But none of that's going on as we speak because the organization descended into a cult. And when you got a cult, you got one goddamn leader, or many one leaders, as I would like to say, who think they know what the fuck is best for Black people. You got to have many voices in a room who agree to be the leaders of the organization, to vote on what the organization should be doing, and to work that out not only from the local level up, but all the way to the national and international scales of the world. And Black people, even though, and I say this openly and publicly, the United States may be enemies to Iran, but black people need to be having conversations with the supreme leader of Iran. Black people should be taking their organizations and having meetings with the leaders of African nations, because of all of the stuff that we see that's going on with pandemics and climate change and all of this, with all of the unsettlement of race in America. Black people should be moving in and out of all of these different countries, having multiple places to live in all over the world. We should be heading in that direction and not just sitting in the hood and doing our little thing and being happy. Because as far as white folks, those whites who are in control of the economics and the politics of the black community are concerned, they're going to gentrify black folks until they completely gone from the hood anyway. And so we got to get up on our task, and we got to start thinking internationally and having relationships with people, even if the United States hates, tells us, hey, that's a terrorist nation. Well, they ain't no terrorist to me. Shit, I can go in that country if they invite me in, and I can go and have meetings with those leaders in that country. And there's nothing, you can't call me a terrorist just for having a meeting. You want to know what the meeting was about? Shit, you already know. You had a drone up over my goddamn head, listening to everything I said. So that's just the way we need to be thinking as a race today. And rules and regulations put you there, rules and regulations and having those principles within your organization will put you there at the end of the day.
No doubt. So, and this is my last question, Syke, unless you got something after this.
He actually answered the question that I was about to ask to get ready to close with. And that was the direction that the black community should be going into, and how, if any way, do he see that the new Black Panther Party could be healed from the descent it went into? He answered that on his own. That's what I would go close it with. But go ahead, brother.
So the what is it? The total stand down with the military and the discontinuing of lifetime benefits if they're prosecuted or found to be hooking up with and in cahoots with some so-called extremist folks, organizations, and whatnot. What is your perspective? What is your, because I know you mentioned your son, and also I know that hits close to home as well as within the community. So what are your thoughts on some of that?
Well, here's what I see is that for decades and decades and decades, white supremacist organizations have long drawn from the core of military and police apparatus in order to grow their numbers for white supremacy in this country. Only in the United States can they do that bullshit. The other side to that is the very reason that the new Black Panther Party and its apparatus can no longer be seen. Its philosophy, its rules, its regulations can never be seen or used as a hate group. There was nothing in our platform about hating somebody because of the color of their skin, nothing. And I think we have to lean on those principles because when we lean on those principles, you can't say that people can't come to a new Black Panther Party meeting just because we're talking about the evolution of politics in the Black community, or the evolution of how do we get a supermarket in this Black community. That's not an extremist ideology. Or how do we get a Black bank in this Black community? Those are not extremist ideologies, and you can't even say that has anything to do with extremism. And then thank the Creator, if I can use that term, that religious term, openly and publicly, that there are allies on the congressional and Senate side who understand that. So I, believe it or not, I'm actually working to make sure that Black organizations, I can't defend all Black folks, but I can defend the principles of the new Black Panther Party. That is the reason I am rapidly moving towards this whole new call for folks who really want to be a part of the new Black Panther Party to leave away from all of that other bullshit that they've been dealing with for decades now, for at least 2 decades, and come into a principled organization that's about moving forward with the agenda of the Black community as a whole. And so, with that in mind, I I, I would say that um, as long as we are an organization that's not moving by hate, then I'm not having a problem with folks who are in the military or who come from other walks of life, even coming to a meeting. Because you never heard us, I've never heard, at least I don't remember ever being in a meeting where we talked about, all we talked about is killing white folks. It just didn't happen. Not when I was there. Now with some of these other folks, I actually sat in some folks' meetings like, God damn, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
You motherfuckers, y'all done completely lost it and shit, And I get it, but if hate is your motivator to get up in the morning, shit, you in trouble.
No doubt.
You just in fucking trouble. As a human being, you in trouble. You got nothing to live for but hating some motherfucker because his skin color is different from yours. What kind of shit is that?
Yeah.
That's that same shit that they've been doing to us.
Yeah.
Just because of the color of your skin is different. Hell, I'll put it to you like this. I get along with anybody who get along with me. And if the person don't like me, he showing the hell ain't saying it to me. Number one. And if I think there's a problem with me and him, I'm gonna go up to him and I'm gonna have a conversation with him. And if he want to get down, we can get down. But don't get down the wrong way. Because my mom, I'm like my mama. Don't come to the fight if you're gonna bring don't bring some nothing to this fight. Like all ass and no head. All head and no ass. You know what I'm saying? Don't just jump into this fight. You're gonna get your ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? And you may be missing. I'm a person who believes in giving a person a chance, and I don't give a shit what color they are. I'm gonna stand with. I've stood with a lot of brothers in the American Indian movement. I stood with brothers from other communities that are principled in their belief system, and so I'll continue to stand with all those other communities as I move forward in my life, man. Because and I tell people this: when my life is over, I want to be able to say I did everything I could to change the world. I know that's a big ass job. It really is. Trying to change the world is a big ass job, but you got to be, that should be your goal. Martin Luther King talk about shit. I can't be the sun, but hell, I can be a star.
Yeah.
I can be a star. I can't be the birds in the sky, but I can be the moon. Shit, and so we can be anything we want to. We can aspire to do all of those different things, but we got to be a principled people and move forward with righteousness. Even that term is used in a religious faction. We got to move under righteousness if we're gonna do for our people, and help free our people from the enslavement mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. We moving into that principle. In other words, I got a toolkit here on my desk. I use every tool in that toolkit all the time. And my dog just told me to get off this call. Get off the phone, daddy.
Let me say this before I get ready to close out. To go back to what you were saying about being in those meetings and never sitting around hearing people just dialogue about killing white folks all day. I remember one time these two white females who we thought was white came into the headquarters, and they didn't tell us who they were, and we didn't know who they were, but we let them in, and they had a seat, and they listened to the speech. I think Brother E was doing the political education class that particular day. Brother Ali did what he do. He made people feel comfortable. He went outside and checked the cars out in the parking lot. Everything was good. And then later, at the end of the day, these two white women revealed who they were. They was Comber Cottrell's daughters. And he was extremely light-skinned, and they was mixed. I think his wife or their mother was white. So they looked white, but they was actually mixed sisters. And we thought they were white, but we treated them extremely well, and they was impressed by that. They were like, man, we came in and y'all, man, the way y'all treated us, y'all didn't treat us no different, didn't know who we was. And they essentially said that their father was looking to donate some money to an organization that was really, really making moves in the streets. Anyway, I brought that up to say, just to, give proof or evidence to how we moved as the party back then, and that was in the 90s when that took place. But yeah, that was in the 90s. I'm not sure if that's after you had left. No, if it's after you had left, it would have been like early 2000s. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you was there. Was you still there? Do you remember that situation?
No, I don't remember that. But I do remember something happening centered around the Cottrell family, and that'll be one of those conversations that I know we'll end up talking about later on.
Yeah.
But I know some stuff that actually happened with that money.
Yeah.
That it was supposed to come to the organization, but it went somewhere else because of the unprincipled, unbridled leadership of Steve Washington, better known as Hashim Nzinga. When you're an unprincipled motherfucker, that's the shit that
That's how you
goes down.
feel.
Yeah, that motherfucker was unprincipled. He was a boy. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. My mama told me if I can't say shit good about the dead, don't say nothing.
Don't say nothing at all.
But it just unprincipled people leading you is the worst damn thing that can happen to an organization in general. You descend into cult mentality. It's the supreme leader's way or nobody's way. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
So you gotta move away from that. That's why a group of people leading the new Black Panther Party is the best principle in this new climate that we live in, this new extremist white supremacist climate that we live in. We gotta have a principled group of people leading the organization, especially on the international front. There's no reason that we shouldn't have ties to other countries around the world, and that we are meeting the needs of our people, not only here, but evolving our people, that Black people all over the world. And
Indeed.
that we've been teaching it for decades. Black people live in every corner of the globe, all 8 continents, Atlantis, if you want to use that, if you want to say that. But I mean, we everywhere. And so because we are everywhere, I was in China a couple of years ago. And in China, I saw Black people living there. And I was like, it was just interesting to me. Now, they were Black Muslims, but they were still in China. And it was just really interesting. I was in the Philippines, and I saw Black people living in the Philippines. Really, and they are indigenous people in the Philippines. They have indigenous laws and rules that they live by in the Philippines. So that's my point, is that Black people are everywhere around the globe as we speak. And we have to be able to meld into all of those cultures with them and work with them on the international front. You're talking about, I always tell people this, the buying power of Black people just giving 10% of their legal income pre-pandemic in Dallas County was $65 million. That's 10% of the legal income coming through the Black church. $65 million on Monday morning, hitting them banks 52 weeks out of a year. 52 weeks out of a year. Billions of dollars. And we still don't have a Black bank in Dallas. Come on, y'all. That's just, as we like to say, my dad would say, man, that's straight bullshit. It's just bullshit. 60, it's just mind-boggling to me about the economics of the Black community as we move forward in this world and start to talk about how do we move forward with the organizations like the new Black Panther Party. We have to have a principled group of folks moving us forward in every aspect of the United States, through politically, in every other aspect, economically, judicially, militarily. When I say militarily, I'm talking about law enforcement. As a matter of fact, I'm working right now in Dallas County on the police review board with subpoena and investigative power to curb the violence of white supremacy within not only in the Dallas Police Department, but all 32 cities that Dallas County runs. This is not going to just be a city of Dallas rule and regulation. This is going to be a Dallas County regulation. But how do we get there? How do we make this operate? By getting your behinds out and voting. Remember, the Black Panther Party had a political apparatus attached to it, and that meant getting folks out to vote. Principally, that's it. That's it.
Well, we greatly appreciate you, brother, for coming on and giving us your viewpoint, giving us that history, giving us that origin. Anybody watching, you should have got a lot of takeaways, because I got a whole bunch of them. One of the main ones is that a person and a group has to be principled. They have to live and set a foundation of law, because without that, people are going into chaos and factionism. Would you like to leave the viewing audience any kind of email, any kind of way that they can get in contact with you, whether they want to organize, whether they want to join what you're building and creating right now?
Yes, sir. We can do it two ways. I'll give a phone number, and I'll give my email address.
All right.
The email address is nbppfounder@gmail.com. That's New Black Panther Party founder@gmail.com. nbppfounder@gmail.com. They can call me 682-334-2158. 682-334-2158. That's the number. I tell people, don't call me and be bullshitting, because the FBI watching my phone. So if you call, I'm gonna come and help. Or if you just calling to cuss me out, watch what you say and shit. Because the first thing I tell people is the one thing I've seen is Facebook has not been Black folks' friend for the last 10 years at least. We get up on there and do crazy shit and then broadcast it. I mean, what kind of shit? I mean, we didn't do none of that ignorant shit back in the day. We just didn't do it. So use social media just for what it is. You want to have a conversation with somebody, fine. You want to have a disagreement with them on that conversation, fine. But don't get on there and tell somebody you're gonna kill somebody.
Yeah,
It's
no.
like, goddamn, come on, man. How you think they finding all the crazy ass January 6 folks? The motherfuckers got up on Facebook and Google and Instagram talking about the dumb shit that they did, and now they catching the motherfuckers. Good for them, you stupid motherfucker. You need to get caught if you're gonna go. Hey, it's three people that go with me whenever I go do anything, and neither one of those three people tell on each other. Me, myself, and goddamn I.
True indeed.
Neither one of them motherfuckers gonna tell anybody Aaron did anything. They all pleading the fifth. Shit. And so people need to get back to keeping their goddamn mouths shut and quit running their mouths so goddamn much.
True
Half
indeed.
the stuff that I told you guys today on this broadcast, nobody knew about this stuff, man. Nobody knew how I felt about certain things, because it wasn't important. Shit wasn't,
Yeah, true indeed. Well, people, that we have it. We have the founder of the New Black Panther Party. Brother E did an intro for us called "We Started This." And this is the man's picture who popped up at the beginning of that intro. Brother Aaron Michaels, New Black Panther Party. This is the Panther 48. We are collecting and codifying this revolutionary information and this origin history.
Yes,
Peace
sir.
and power. Thank you, brother, for participating with us.
Absolutely.
Peace, brother. I appreciate you, brothers, man. Y'all stay strong. Call me anytime, and I'll be here waiting on y'all.
True indeed. Our power.
Our power.